Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Elite here, and Happy New Year! All right, this is a great new year. I'm starting fresh. Today is one of my first videos of 2020, and uh, and I looked earlier this morning, and I saw a couple of vids about the Snyder Cut and what should we what should we be expecting for this year for the Snyder Cut, and I watched one gentleman. His name is Subjective Reviews, and I watched his video about it, and he made some good points. And one of his points is that we shouldn't be bothering WB about this. We should be still voicing our concerns and hopefully trying to push the narrative that hey, we do want the Snyder cut, but we shouldn't be throwing down the blame game anymore because Kevin Jahara, Toby Emmerich, and Jeff Johns and Diane Nelson, they're not in charge anymore. They're not there. I don't know the length of what Diane Nelson was there for. I don't know if she was truly behind all this, or we also got to remember that Diane Nelson has to go through Toby Emmerich and Kevin Zuzuhara anyway. She has to go through them. So even if she said no, she didn't like that she doesn't like that decision. She wanted to keep forward. She still has to take she can't get overridden by Kevin Zuhara and Toby Emmerich. Now we have Ann Sarnoff. We also have the one gentleman from AT&T, and we also have Walter Hamada. Now, I don't know that AT&T's guys stand on the Snyder Cut, but I think that he has more of a standard on wanting to make money. And we also got to look at it is a business. This is a big business. They want to make money. From their point of view, now we could throw money at them and say, hey, Man of Steel made over $600 million. You have BVS that made close to $800 million, $850 million, and that was the theatrical cut. And then on top of that, you had one of the biggest selling Blu-rays for close to 4 or 5 months in the BVS Ultimate cut. That's more money you left on the table when you could have brought that out. It could have made easily over $1 billion. You also had Suicide Squad that made $700 million. Wonder Woman made almost close to BVS level money. You also had Aquaman making $1 billion. You have Shazam that made around about $400 or $500 million. Now, again, that movie wasn't made with big bucks. That movie was made for around $100 million. It wasn't made for a lot of money. So for it to make $500 million, that's not bad. And I'm thinking of it from a standpoint think of it from that standpoint. Now, we can go off and look at all the movies they made, and they made a good amount of money for what it was. Now, also, everyone's got to realize that WB is looking at the majority. They're not looking at the silent majority. They're looking at the majority, the people that are talking and they want to see something. So that's why John Eric Garza did the video about in the article about that. No matter what we complain about, we can sit there and say whatever we want to say. AT&T wants to see money. They're in the business to make money. So is WB. So we can sit here and say that this made this much money, this made this much money, this made this much money. It's criticism. There's still people right now on Facebook that I looked on Facebook, and I have a feeling even on Twitter, they are still complaining about BVS. One dude is complaining about the death of Superman, and he felt that it was too rushed, and it made no sense. And I'm looking at him going, how do you know it made no sense? Did you actually understand what Zack Snyder was doing? He was trying to propose that this is a world without hope, and the death of Superman would make a bigger impact than anything else. And if you went to the way that you wanted to do it, it would have been way too cliche. Because we're ingrained. All of us. Doesn't matter if it's myself. It doesn't matter if it's Joe Blow from Philadelphia. It doesn't matter. We are all ingrained to see a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now we see the beginning of the story. We see the hero's rise. We see in the middle it's a darker story, and you can see the death of the hero. And in the third movie, it's a wrap up to the whole trilogy. That's what we're ingrained to see. And they see it all the time. That is the reasoning why Zack Snyder completely threw a banana peel in the whole situation. He threw a banana peel. And we didn't understand it. Now you could disagree with Zack Snyder how he did it, but you cannot disagree that it was the wrong decision. You could disagree like, hey, I never would have done that. But the thing is that Justice League would have been a much more impactful film if we see Zack Snyder's cut, because no matter what, Justice League made no sense to Man of Steel and BVS. That's the way you could say it. If you say that, no, that makes no, I don't want to see the Snyder cut. So you're okay with not knowing how this trilogy completely ended. You don't know. That makes no sense. That's like this is what it sounds like. It sounds like The Witcher, which is one of the best freaking shows we got right now on next to The Mandalorian, and the season finale doesn't wrap up anything. It leaves you it just ends. Geralt never found Ciri. He basically was on his deathbed still dying. Jennifer is about to do a magical trick, and we don't know what happened. And then they say, "Yep, you know what? We're gonna cancel this series. We're done. We're good." You're like, "What? Whoa, 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 whoa! How does this end?" And the story and you got the show. The showrunner says, "It ended. It's all right." That is exactly how it is for BVS. I'm sorry, Man of Steel, BVS, and we don't know what the Snyder Cut is. By us not knowing, we just got the death of Superman. That's it. We don't know how he got resurrected. We don't know anything. We're getting more bits and pieces to his story that we can actually be able to fill in the gaps. I'm almost at a point where I don't want to fill in any more gaps. I just want you to bring out the movie. Just bring out the movie, and I'll be perfectly fine with it. And I personally feel in my heart of hearts that we're most likely not going to get this year. The only reason why I'm saying is that one, they're moving forward with Robert Pattinson's Batman. We don't know nothing about this Superman. We also are gonna get the Birds of Prey. We're gonna get the Birds of Prey movie. We're also gonna get the new Wonder Woman. We're not gonna get the Flash to the next following year. Same goes for Aquaman. So there's a lot of movies we're getting this year, but we're still getting no news on Superman. So that could be good, that could be bad. Now, the main thing is they want to see how the people respond. And the more people that are speaking at this on these DC platforms, and they're saying that they don't like Zack Snyder's Superman, they oh yeah, we like Henry Cavill's, but we want Henry Cavill more like Christopher Reeve. That's what you're gonna get. That is exactly what you're gonna get, and it's not gonna make a lot of money. It's not. You're just getting people that are gonna come in, and then that movie's gonna fall off. If they make Superman another Superman movie, and it's in the same vein as Dick Donner's Superman, and it doesn't crack over 800 million, you know right there, people are gonna say, dude, that's because people are sick and tired of having the same Superman. It is not your fault. It is not your fault for liking the Christopher Reeve version. Nobody's disputing that. They're not disputing the hatred of Dick Donner's Superman or Christopher Reeve's Superman. They're not saying that. They're saying is we don't want the same crap. We don't want the same thing. Give us something different. That's it. That's all they want. And you did get something different with Zack Snyder's, and nobody liked it. They hated it because it wasn't Christopher Reeve's Superman. And the funnier thing is that you got that years ago with Brandon Routh's version, which I had no problem with Brandon Routh's version. I had no problem. The script sucked balls. The script sucked balls. Kevin Spacey was phenomenal as freaking Lex Luthor. He felt like Gene Hackman mixed with Michael Rosenbaum at the time. That's how it felt. He felt dark. He felt in your face. He felt like he was somebody that will literally kill Superman. Not sit there and joke about it. He will physically kill Superman. He doesn't care. My biggest problem is that individuals are not at least willing to give Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder's version at least a chance to finish their story. So you could judge the whole trilogy. They don't want to. And that's the number one reason why Right now, it is the main reason why WB is not pushing forward with another Superman. They're throwing things out like, oh, we want to do Supergirl. We don't want a Supergirl movie. We don't want it. It's gonna make it. It's gonna make maybe around Man of Steel level money. It might only because people are curious. But it's not gonna make a big. It's not gonna make a killing. It won't make a killing. They want to see Superman, and they want to see something a little bit different. Zack Snyder took it in a different direction. It's fine, but there was nothing wrong with Henry Cavill. The dude got in yolk shape. Now people say, "Oh, he needs a better script." What do you mean, what better script? We never saw the fruition of his character. He's not throwing shade at Zack Snyder. He's just saying like he kind of wished they could have went forward with a little bit more of his Superman. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. He's not throwing shade at Zack. He's not. He's appreciative of Zack. Zack gave him the freaking role of becoming Superman. Why would he throw shade on the guy? That makes no sense. He's just saying like, hey, at this present point, why the heck are we fighting over this? It makes no difference. A lot of people already made their decisions. People are still talking about the Martha scene. That's the funniest thing. I literally keep seeing on Facebook. I keep seeing it all over social media. They make fun of the Martha scene, and that made a bigger impact than anything Marvel has ever done. It has. People still talk about Tony doing the snap. Well, dude, wait 2 or 3 years. If people are still talking about Batman versus Superman and they don't talk about nothing about what happened in Endgame, that tells you Endgame was forgettable. Endgame was completely forgettable. BVS made that big of an impact in pop culture, and that's a mark on Zack Snyder. He did that good of a job. Last Jedi is gonna be one of the stench all over Star Wars. It is, but you can't give it up to Zack. You give it up to Rian Johnson. He made an impact, but Zack Snyder was trying to tell a much more heartfelt story. Rian Johnson didn't give two craps to Legacy, and this was a continuation of a saga. The whole Superman thing, that makes, dude, you could do a different version of Superman all you wish. It doesn't matter. As long as you keep to the core values. And he was building those core values. You can't just throw the core values into a movie and think that everyone should be on board with that. That absolutely makes no sense. He was trying to get to everybody to understand the core values of Superman. That's all he was doing. I'm sorry. That's what I see in what he was trying to do. Everybody else could be completely different about how he was doing it, and that's perfectly fine. But Subjective Reviews did a really good job on talking about what we should be doing for this. And I throw this out here to you guys too. I throw it out there and say, keep fighting for that cut. We're going to get it. Now, I'm very hesitant about thinking we're going to get it this year, but there's factors in that we need to think about. This is a business. This isn't something that they should just give to anybody. Okay? They do not want to they don't want to keep beating this dead horse. That's what they don't want. They don't want to have 100. If they throw this out there in a Blu-ray and it only makes $50 million for them, then that's a joke. They want this to be a huge thing. They want this to be a huge thing. Now, he made a great proposition. He made a huge proposition. If Zack Snyder gets the okay from WB and he could show his Snyder Cut at another SnyderCon, I guarantee you that whole event will be booked. It will be booked. People are going to want to go see it. You're going to see most likely subjective. You're going to see subjective reviews. I will do everything I can to be there. I have a feeling we're going to see guys from DC Film Hubs. We're going to see John Eric Garza there. We're going to see Ben Everts. I guarantee you they're going to be like, oh hell yeah, we're going to go. We're going to see Matt and Shane. We're going to see Matt and Shane there. Definitely we're going to see Chris Wong there. Dave Pena will be there. Film Junkie. I guarantee you all of the people who were fighting for this cut will be there. They will be there. They will take days off work. I will take days off work. I'll be like, no, I'm taking these days off. Sorry, I'm gone. I will go if he's gonna show off that cut. And we'll be the only ones that can be able to get to see it, and we will enjoy it. And we'll come out and we'll tell you if it's trash, it's trash. But I have a feeling we're not gonna say it's trash. None of us are gonna say it's trash, unless someone's gonna come there and they're gonna try to be a little bit more subjective. But for him, knowing Zach and knowing how disciplined he is about making a storyline and make it flow to the way he wants it, it's not gonna the story's not gonna be trash. Again, everyone have their own personal opinions about things, but it doesn't not it doesn't conclude the fact that everyone has a biased opinion when it comes to Zack Snyder, to his movies. I still see people today that do not like his movies. They don't like his movies. And they still want to talk about the fact that he screwed up on these superheroes. And I go, really? And you're saying that Marvel did it better? No, they didn't. They screwed up a lot. They screwed up on a lot of characters. I will even add this into this video. Here is my rant. And I'll add this into the title. This is my rant on why I believe Marvel. I will add some language in here. They fucked up these characters. They fucked up Captain America. They fucked up Iron Man. They effed up Hulk. They effed up Thor. They effed up a lot of these characters. The number one character they messed up on, and it made no sense when they gave a good groundation to his character, was Thor. Thor made no sense. They did not take into consideration his Scandinavian background. He's a Scandinavian Viking. They took no they took no care to that. They didn't care. And that tells volumes to you. Zack Snyder took care about making Aquaman very close to how he is in the comics. He took care of the fact and the details of his abilities and powers. He took care of Wonder Woman and how she is supposed to be as an Amazonian warrior. He took care he took very good care of that. He didn't make her to this butch woman that just basically, just because she has a sword and a shield, that she could just basically beat people up halfway to death. No. He did a very good job on that. Kevin Feige in his direction made no sense. No sense. The major problem he messed up on Thor was you had in the first movie, which was done by Kevin Bragna, a phenomenal director, made the story feel close to how it is in the comics. It's basically Hamlet, where you have brother versus brother. And then in the second movie, his whole character kind of went out the window. It was one of the directors from Game of Thrones who came in and did the movie. Because they were going to have Patty Jenkins do it. And when they told her, no, she was like, say what? And left. She said, say what? And left. Because she wanted to continue doing that fish out of water level story and slowly and have it where it's now this instead of this. And she was able to do that over in Wonder Woman. And it made a lot better sense. And I guarantee you she'd have paid way better respect to Thor's character. Kevin Feige didn't give two shits. Because Thor, yes, he loves Earth, but he's a Scandinavian Viking. He's a Scandinavian Viking. He loves the party. He loves the beer. He loves the women. But the thing is, when battle hits, that dude is serious. He doesn't take crap. Especially when it's a planet level event. He does not make jokes. Actually, no, I'm sorry. He makes light level jokes. But with the Avengers, he has a little bit of fun, yes, because he has a group of other heroes and he's having fun, like it's with him with the Warriors 3 or Sith. That's it. What they did to him in Thor 3, I hated it. That's not Thor. I'm sorry, that's not Thor. That's not the Thor I've ever read in the comics. They took away his core values and took it out the window. Thor is never like that. He was never like that. Ever. he knows Ragnarok's coming and he's throwing jokes. No, this dude realized that, dude, this is the death of all the gods. This is the destruction of this is the destruction of my world. He takes it very seriously. He is the lion of Asgard. He is the fist. There is no way he'd be throwing around jokes. He'd be very serious. Infinity War makes no sense to his character. No sense. Here's the second character they messed up on. They fucked up on. Captain F in America. They fucked his character up. The first movie made sense. He's a man out of time. Makes sense. He wakes up. He should have never, ever been complaining about, oh, I'm late for a date. No, he should have been bawling. His whole world is gone. All of it is gone. He can't go and look for Bucky. He couldn't go look for Bucky. He lost Peggy. He thinks Peggy's dead. Or she's old and moved on. His whole world is gone. He's not going to be sitting there going, oh, well, I'm late for a date. No. They should have took the mirror from the comics. He's dropped it in the middle of Times Square and bawling like a baby. Because his world is gone. He can't go back. The second movie made sense. This is a Captain America who's outside of time and going, okay, you know what? I'm going back to what I do best, just being the soldier. And it made sense. Then you basically get him at the end of the day. He realizes everything he's ever fought for is all been part of Hydra's plan. And then on top of it, they infiltrated Peggy's legacy. Peggy's legacy. S.H.I.E.L.D. is Peggy's legacy. Her gift to the world because we lost Captain America. That's what the foundation of S.H.I.E.L.D. was. They threw it out the window. I put that in there. I was like, wait a minute. She created S.H.I.E.L.D., right? Yeah, okay. She created S.H.I.E.L.D. That means this was her gift to the world because we lost Captain America. It makes sense. So sorry, I'm getting over a cold. So it does make sense for Captain America to be very upset about this. So he destroys S.H.I.E.L.D. to get rid of Hydra. Okay. Now in Captain America 3, again, makes no sense. It makes no sense to his character. Because Captain America is a guy that always does the right thing. Always. That's his whole core of his character. Right? Alright. So why in the hell would he even consider signing the Sokovia Accords? Why would he even think about something like that? He'd be like, no, I'm not doing it. And if anybody asks him why, he goes, because this is wrong. Why is the government telling me I have to reveal myself? And then if I say no, they have to throw me in jail? No. That's taking away my civil liberties. I have civil rights. What he's trying to say is I have God-given rights. As long as I'm not breaking the law, I'm working with the government and I'm working with the police departments. You should have no say about how I should take off this mask. I should have the privacy of my own identity. And that's how he should have felt. But he didn't. He didn't. So I said, no, she didn't. No, he didn't. He said it to freaking Tony. He says, I would. I consider signing that thing, but I said, no, I can't. That line made me go, no, that's not Cap. Cap would say no. Flat no. There'd be no consideration. He'd be saying no. You should have pushed the label with Iron Man. You should have pushed the label with Iron Man. The whole narrative should have been Tony versus Steve. You should have went full blown with Tony. He should have been a complete a-hole. He should have been thinking more about his company, advancing his technology, advancing his money more than the Avengers. You should have had him do a lot of dirty things. And that would have made a lot more sense to his character. Because that's his character. That is Tony Stark. Tony Stark will only think about himself. Remember, he only signed it because he was sick and tired of other people dying and they can't take responsibility. Yes, that's the whole point of why why Steve's character says we need to release ourselves. We need to take responsibility ourselves and watch each other's backs. Government should not be but looking over our shoulders. That is funny, and no one sees that in the movie. I see it because it's right there. It's right there apparent. They messed up Tony. They messed up Tony's character and they messed up Steve's character for that whole thing. Then you build this really good relationship between Steve and Sharon, and by Endgame you completely butt fuck us from it. That's what you did. You threw it right out the window. You threw it all out the window just to give Peggy and Steve a goodbye. Why? 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 You know what you could have done? To fix all of that, you didn't have to take Steve and make him an old man. You know what you could have done? You could have made it where Steve gets no powers. Keeps the looks, but he doesn't have the super soldier serum in him. And he goes off to go and have his relationship with Sharon. And they walk off the whole freaking movie. They're done. Their storyline is done. He's saying, you know what? He cannot live in the past anymore. It's time for him to live in the present. You just made a guy who's not supposed to live in the past anymore. He's a man at a time. He said his goodbye to Peggy. He moved on from Peggy. He was starting his relationship with Sharon. And you made him screw that whole thing and went back to Peggy. So don't tell me they messed up, they got Steve's character right. They messed up Steve's character. Steve would never do that. Steve would move on from Peggy. He'd be like, no, Peggy lived her life. She had her great loves. She had her failures and her successes. She would be livid that Steve would do something like this. It's like, what the heck gives you the right to do that? That's Steve. That's the Steve that you guys wanted. Tony. They messed up Tony's character. You could have made him a complete dick. At the end of Endgame, he could have been on his deathbed dying, and the first thing you see is you see Steve walking up, and then you see Bucky, and he looks at both of them, but he's not looking at them, and he says that, I'm sorry. Can you forgive me? And he's not saying it to Steve, he's saying it to Bucky. Because that should have been the bookend to the whole thing of the whole Civil War. He's dying. He knows he's dying, so he's saying, no, forgive me. Please just, can you forgive me? And Bucky understands what he's talking about. He goes, yeah, no problem. And that's it. Or he gives him a nod. He nods. No, they didn't think of stuff like that. There's little nuances, especially you're building it up for 10 years, 20 plus movies, and I was looking at those little nuances. Those little nuances were not there. For me, it was not there. You should have had Tony on his deathbed apologizing to both Steve and Bucky for what he did. Because he's dying. There's no reason for him to. There's no reason for him to keep having this anger towards both of these guys, because at the end of the day, he knows that it was his fault. He should have held back. He knows that Bucky was not under his control. He knows Bucky was not in full control of his own body. He knows. Because Steve told everybody about what happened to Bucky. They all know about it. It's all record. So why the heck is Iron Man going to flip out? I mean, I understand that's his mom. I know. I understand that. But after calming down, he should have realized, crap. Oh, well. But now he's dying? No, please, forgive me. I was wrong in all of it. Like I said, they messed up a lot of characters. Hawkeye makes no sense. His character got completely screwed. Black Widow got massively screwed. Hulk, oh Jesus God, that's gonna be a whole video on its own. So what I'm gonna say here is this: I will make a video about the Avengers and how I feel that they screwed these characters, and that'll be one of my not longer videos, but like one of the videos I will have about Marvel that won't be apparent on my channel. I'm not gonna do a lot of Marvel stuff because I feel that Kevin Feige In my personal opinion, he doesn't give two shits about Marvel Legacy. He doesn't care. He just wants to make a dollar. And I understand that. I'm not complaining that he wants to make a dollar. I'm complaining is that he could easily still make the money by paying attention to the legacy of the characters. He doesn't care about that. He just wants to take the greatest things about the characters and throw them on the big screen and let all of us just shove popcorn in our mouth and smile. That's it. He doesn't care about the some of the darker stories. He doesn't care about some of the messed up things about characters and bringing them apparent onto the screen. He screwed up Spider-Man. I'm sorry. I'm the biggest. I love Spider-Man for a long, long time since I was a little kid. I love Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man more than Batman. And what Marvel did to Spider-Man, I hate it. I hate it. There's aspects I like, but I hate the overall. That's not Peter Parker. That is not. In some occasions, that's Spider-Man. In other occasions, it's not. But I'm telling you right now, a person who's been reading a lot of Spider-Man, no, that is not Spider-Man, and it upsets me a lot that people are sitting there loving this Spider-Man and they're disrespecting Tobey Maguire's. With that one is the closest to the comic books. That is the closest to the comic books, other than his powers. His powers, I mean, his web slingers are not there, which is fine. But Andrew Garfield's was way different. It was different, but it's only different because there was two. It was like four aspects of Peter Parker's life shoved in those two movies. So, but again, like I said, there's aspects I like and there's aspects I hate, and I don't like what they did overall with Spider-Man. It makes absolutely no sense to his character, absolutely no sense. But I'm gonna leave it there. This is about half an hour long, and I won't make this too long. But for the whole DC, for the whole DC Nation, please, please, please do not be aggressive towards WB. They know they effed up. They know they effed up. They know they got to get back good with the fans. But do you see them doing anything negative against all the things that Zack Snyder is posting? No. They're not touching it. Because here's the thing. The more stuff that Zack Snyder is posting and the more things that a lot of us are trying to piece together about his cut, that's free publicity for them. They don't have to pay nobody anything for this. That's free for us to to consume and be able to talk to other audience members about. Those silent majorities to start talking. And the more people that are talking, the more people that are showing love for this cut, that's going to make it much more apparent that they can make money off this. That is a proposal they could give to AT&T so they can actually get that piece of the cut, because AT&T most likely bought that Snyder cut. They said no, put that thing in the can, put it in the back, put it with the cobwebs. We don't want to have no. Put that thing next to the Ark of the Covenant. We don't care. We don't care. We don't want to see it. But if they see they're going to make a buttload of money, they're going to go, oh, you know what? Maybe we can bring out that cut. And that's how we got to propose it to them. We got to make other people know that this cut is very, very different than the Justice League. If you hated that cut, then you want to see the Snyder cut. You want to see it. Despite how you feel about Snyder, despite how you feel about certain aspects of his movies, you want to at least see this cut so you get the finale to everything. Because this movie was going to be much longer, and this movie was going to be way more deep than anything else that we've ever seen from Zack Snyder. He put a lot of love into this. And we have yet to hear from Chris Terrio. He's still doing the promotions for Rise of Skywalker. And I'm about to do another video about, now I see why we do not want J.J. Abrams a part of Superman. Now I have more to talk about with this, and I will put that out. There's a lot, and it will have spoilers about Rise of Skywalker, and I'm gonna probably be cursing up a storm in that. So, like, comment, share, subscribe down below. Hit that bell, please. Pass it off to your friends. Let them watch it too. I want to talk about this. I think that a lot of us should come together and just be civil. That's the whole point of this. We got to be civil to each other and realize that, hey, if you don't like the cut, move on. That's perfectly fine. DC's going to make whatever movies you want. That's perfectly fine. We just want the cut so we can finish what we wanted. And I have a huge feeling a lot of us will either fall off. A good amount of us might fall off, but a amount of us will move forward to the rest of these movies. We'll appreciate what these guys are doing. But by this cut not being out there, you're just leaving Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel without a conclusion. That's what you're leaving. And that's not how a studio should do it. So we have to see. I have a feeling we're not going to get it this year. only because there's a lot of other movies coming out, and WB really wants to start making money. But the thing is, the more we keep pushing, and the more that they're not fighting Zack, and the more they're not giving out that negative press about the cut, that's more to not to it's more evidence to conclude that we could be getting that cut this year, or we're getting closer to getting that cut. But keep pushing and be civil. All right, you guys have a great one, and once again, you guys have a good one. Bye.